I'm going to let you open it up for us and do kind of like a personal intro.
Hi, everybody. I'm Donavan Rose, the Donavan Rose on TikTok and Instagram. I am the biggest geek in the Midwest. I am a huge Marvel collector and lover. It is basically my whole entire life. But I do love tons of other TV and movies. I'm constantly watching something. So my friends call me the TV guru because they always come to me asking me what to watch next. So anything pop culture is right up my alley.
Like I said, you're a pro, man. So yeah, let's get to let's take it back. I want to hear about your first experiences in any kind of fandom, collecting. It could be Marvel, it could be TV. Like, what are your first memories of experiencing something really cool like that, comics, anything, and being like, oh my, realizing I love this stuff. This is great.
So it's actually really crazy because growing up, I never really liked superhero movies. I loved Spider-Man though. Spider-Man, since I was little, I've always just loved him. Tobey Maguire movies I watched when I was younger, and I think he was my first crush. So ever since then, like Spider-Man has always just been so relatable and funny and just somebody who I could kind of look up to and relate to. So before even Marvel was a thing or MCU was a thing, I had Spider-Man. And then as I grew and I aged, there was always a different Spider-Man. There was Tobey, there was Andrew, and now there's Tom. So everywhere in my life, every stage I've been going through, there's been a Spider-Man there to kind of help me through whatever I was going through. And so that's really where my love kind of comes through for superheroes. Like I said, I was never really into them when I was younger because I thought it was kind of like wrestling or things it was just good guy versus bad guy, that there wasn't any actual story to them. So I never watched like Iron Man or Thor when they originally came out. My first time actually watching a Marvel movie was in 2014. My friend and I, we went to go see, oh gosh, I can't even remember, it was like a horror movie in theaters and it was sold out and we were super sad, but they were like, oh well, there's the Captain America Winter Soldier that you could go see. And I'm like, a Marvel movie? Do we have to? But we did. And I was like, okay, this is actually really good. It's not just good guy versus bad guy. There's so much more story and like heart and connection. And I could relate to so many characters. So then after that, I went back and I watched the rest that I hadn't before. And I became obsessed, going to every single Marvel movie premiere since then. And then I started collecting a year and a half ago only, and I have this big collection. But so I started collecting, and it's just literally my whole life now. I could not imagine a world where I did not have Marvel.
Let's go through. So yeah, I mean, I love that story, first of all. Second of all, we got to go through your collection because you have so many cool things. First of all, like the wall of pops is nuts, yes. But I know that's not all. So Funko Pops, obviously, everyone loves them. They're so easy to get into, and you have an insane collection. So maybe we'll just go down the list. Like, how did you get into the Funko Pops? I mean, they're so much fun, so I can easily see how anyone got into them. But what like hooked you on the Funko Pops?
So funny story. I started collecting in like the very end of March last year, and I started with the Captain America, the normal Captain America shield. I had the Hulk Nano Gauntlet and the Tesseract. Those are my first three things. Originally, awesome. I said absolutely no Funko Pops because I knew when I got a Funko Pop, I would need them all. So I was like, nope, I'm not going to get any. I'm just going to collect souvenirs and mementos and things like that. And that lasted for like a month. And then I went to Mall of America and I found 2 of the Avengers Assemble Marvel Funkos. And I'm like, why not? I'll just get 2. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is a set of 6. I need to get them all. And then all of a sudden, like, I was like, oh my gosh, there's WandaVision ones. I love Wanda. And I don't know what happened, but one day I woke up like 18 months later with almost 500. So,
oh, wow. You have almost 500?
Yeah, somewhere between 400 and 500. I really don't know how many.
Cool. Yeah. But it's cool though. Like, it's amazing to see. Like, if I open that like closet, I have like a comic book wall of like all, and so there's like little dioramas with like Punisher. But like, it is just such a sight to see all the Funkos like behind you lined up. It's just so cool. Do you remember like, I mean, obviously you do, like how amazing was it to kind of start to stack up and see that collection grow? Because that is such a really cool visual now.
It was crazy because I first started with like just a couple, and I don't know how I have this many because I don't know where I'm finding room for them. I thought I ran out of room months ago, but I still managed to find room somehow. But my biggest complaint is that every time I get a new one, especially if it's from one of these older phases from here to here, this is all phases 1 through 3. So if
Oh,
I get
wow.
one, like I have all of the ones from phase 4 because I've been collecting when they've all come out, so I've gotten them right away. But the
Okay.
ones that I came out before I started collecting are so hard to get. And when I do get one, I have to go and move every single
Uh,
Funko down. And they're like dominoes. If one falls, they all fall. And it's very hectic. I'm sitting there and I'm like sweating and I'm like, okay, okay, don't drop it, don't drop it. It's a mess. But it's fun. I love it. I love
awesome.
having 500 sets of eyes staring at me every night.
So cool. And the little variations, like what would you say? Do you have any? I mean, this is a really hard question. Do you have any like favorites that stick out in your mind? Like a
Well,
handful?
this guy right here is an 18-inch Iron Man, so he's like this big,
That's
and
awesome.
he's really creepy. Like I'm scared he's gonna like Chucky come to life and kill me in my sleep, but I love him, and I really love the Morgan and Tony Stark from Endgame.
Mm,
The glow on that one is just beautiful. But those are probably two of my favorites. That I would, yeah, probably two of my favorites.
it's awesome. What about some pieces aside from Funkos? Like you have some really cool stuff, like you said. I actually wearing. I'll give you a little. Let's give a little plug for
Oh
what
yes,
today.
yes.
Special day. Like
This is GLD shop. They have a really cool Marvel line. I had to go with Captain America first because obviously I love Captain America. So yeah, I had to go with this one first, but this is stunning. This is like some whatever carat diamonds, but it's beautiful.
awesome. And
Yeah,
we.
that
Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, this but my favorite, absolute favorite thing in my collection, I'm actually gonna grab it quick because it's right here,
Yeah.
is this helmet.
Oh.
And let's see.
Oh man.
So this is the Mark V from Iron Man 2, the suitcase armor, and you can control it by touching the side here,
Ah.
or you can be like, Jarvis, close the mask.
Oh. That is
And
so cool.
literally, and it's
Oh.
Jarvis, battle mode. Jarvis, battle mode. She doesn't always, or he doesn't always
Yeah, I'm
listen.
sure.
But the eyes turn red and it's super cool. But this is my favorite thing in my collection.
That is awesome. Oh my God. That is so cool. So we got to talk. I mean, if it's hard. Well, that's not that hard with the Iron Man you brought up. I mean, you do some amazing content. So I want to hear about one, how you got into content, because you're really are incredibly creative and talented across the board. So
Thank you.
Instagram obviously is a very visual medium, and we're going to get into the fact. I mean, you're amazing with like the photos and the cosplay, and then obviously when it comes to TikTok, you also have like an incredible perspective and just an amazing energy on videos as well. So you really have like so many different layers to you. What was your first experience like creating media for social media and really kind of getting hooked on it? Was it TikTok? Was it Instagram? Was it a different medium? Like,
So when I was younger, actually, I used to go on this site called You Now. It was just like where you can live broadcast, and I used to sing. I like sing and stuff that a lot of people don't know anymore because I've been so engulfed in Marvel. I'm a singer. So I used to sing on this website, and I actually used to be a little Facebook famous back in like 2013.
what?
But yeah, but then I kind of steered away from that, and I kind of just lived life, and then in 2019, during when this pandemic started, the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, we all got sent home from work, and I was in my bedroom all the time, and I just got TikTok. I was like, hey, why don't I get this? Everybody's on it. We'll watch some videos, and I started doing like trends and things like that, and it wasn't really getting anywhere. And then I was like, why don't I just post about stuff that I actually like? And I love Marvel, I love geek stuff, but growing up, I couldn't really share that. I was an outcast as it was. So I didn't really have friends who I could share this stuff with. So it was a little bit scary for me to come and post about it online for millions of people. But then when I started that, I started getting people like me and it made me realize, oh my gosh, there are other geeks out there. I'm not alone. Like I can talk about people, about theories and what I'm watching and get excited about it. And that's really when I decided that this is kind of what I want to do. And then the platform just kind of came with that. The followers, the more I posted about Marvel and things like that, they're actually got me into collecting. If it wasn't for TikTok, I probably wouldn't have started collecting. I've wanted to for years, but all my friends in real life who aren't fans, they're like, you could spend your money so much better and blah, 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 blah. So I never really had the confidence to start collecting. And then because of TikTok, I did, and it was the best decision. It's gotten me so many opportunities and made me meet some of the best people in my life and my closest friends. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, and like I said, like you're incredibly creative with it too. It's not like, I mean, there's a lot of people that will do, like I think it's amazing. And again, there's no right or wrong or, nothing better than the other. But I do think you take it to a next level and have such a fun time with it, like start using green screens. You have a lot of like really cool, like the photos you post with cosplay. I mean, they're so polished. Like, is that just kind of like your creative like muscle that you like to flex where you're like, you know what, like I want to try this out? Because I think cosplay is a really interesting take. And we've been talking more and more about that lately, where it really, again, it's an art form. People showing their art through so many different avenues, whether it's clothes they wear or how they organize that or where they present it. And I know you're really good. You're actually really good with photo editing as well too. So you have like a lot of technical skills too. That just came along the way and naturally, like, cause that's you have, again, it's a lot of different layers of creativity there. And so I'd love to know like when that popped for you, because it's really fun.
So I've actually been editing photos like forever since I was really young. I would obviously, filter everything like that social media people would do. And I guess it kind of just grew as I started to get a presence on social media. I would kind of look up tutorials on how to edit certain things into videos or into photos and things like that. So that's kind of helped me along the way and practice and everything like that. But if social media and everything like that is really what piqued my interest in it a lot more, like more than just casually, more like professionally.
Awesome. Now all right, we got to talk about where you're heading, because I don't want to bring this on you, but I think you do have an amazing talent for video. I think for doing interviews, building relationships and connecting, and you're starting to do a lot of interviews. And I want to put this out into the universe. What is your dream scenario? Like, what are your long-term goals? Because you really do seem to have a good grasp on what you want to do. And so I want to hear about that too. Like what is the ideal scenario, and what are your goals for the next, I don't know, 1 to 2 to 3 years with where you're going?
So my goal is within the next 2 years to quit my full-time job and become a full-time social media influencer / pop culture media news reporter. Media and movies, pop culture is literally my whole life. It's my passion. And I would love to just do that full time, be on the red carpets, interviewing the stars of the movies and the shows, going to those premieres and just being there firsthand in person, experiencing it all.
It's awesome. You'll be there very, very soon. And then one of the final things I would ask, like, so obviously you have a very eclectic variety of things you're interested in. I know you're watching the Orville, and big fan of that. What else, like what's on your list right now that you're like just really enjoying and then you're getting a kick out of? And then what are you excited for that's coming down the pike?
Oh gosh, hold on. I have a whole list of shows that I'm watching right now, so I have to get it out and pick a couple here quick.
Okay.
I'm watching so many different things right now. But yeah, so Orville just finished. This season was really good. Harley Quinn this season. Season 3 is out right now. Only Murderers in the Building. Season 2 is amazing. Selena Gomez is absolutely killer this season. And finally, Pretty Little Liars Original Sin on HBO Max. I loved the original Pretty Liars. So I'm really excited to see this kind of spin-off in the same universe back after so long. Those are what I'm currently watching, what I'm excited for. Obviously, we have She-Hulk coming up in the next week or so here, so I'm super excited for that. And then there's actually a new Elba movie. Idris Elba? Yeah, movie coming out, Beast, where he has to fight a lion. So I'm super excited for that because yes, I love him and I love action, and anything with a lion is super creepy. So I'm super excited to see what the outcome of that is.
Awesome. And if you had, this is kind of putting you on the spot, but this is different. If you had your dream interview with one person, who would be the top, or you can get two, top one or two people you were dying to speak to? Because we have to make that happen. But I want to know who your dream interviews would be.
Andrew Garfield.
Okay.
He's going to be my number one. He is literally my favorite. He's my favorite person in the world. And then, oh gosh, the second one, that's going to be so hard. There's so many amazing people, but I would really like to interview, oh my gosh, I'm completely blanking on her name, but the young lady who plays Ironheart, Riri Williams, coming into the MCU.
Oh, I don't know her name either.
I would love to interview her because she is taking up a really big mantle, and I would love to just hear about her experience taking this role on and everything like that. That would be wonderful.
Also, like, I mean, the young talent and Marvel's ability to pull this young talent. Oh, Dominique Thorne, I think.
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, Marvel has just been like hitting it out of the park with the young talent they've been bringing in too. So I think you're right. Like, she's going to be another one that we're all going to be like incredibly impressed, with.
Yeah, well, look at Iman Vellani for Miss Marvel. She this was her first role, and she absolutely killed it. So did they know what they're doing?
They're really good at casting. They're amazing at casting. And so it's been, I'm excited to see how that comes along and everything. I mean, we got like how much stuff coming.
So much.
Cool. The last thing I want to ask you, we started to add this in there and I really love this. What's your creative process when it comes to like ideas? Like, because that's a really interesting thing and different and unique for everyone, right? Because we're all creators. And no matter, what you're covering or what you're doing, and we all have like a unique process. Like, how do you come up with ideas? And again, someone like you is really good because you're super creative. Does it just hit you at some point and you're like, oh, I'm going to take some notes or whatever? Or is there a process that you use to kind of really think of these ideas?
So it honestly depends on like the situation. Most of the time I'll be sitting there, like yesterday I was sitting there and all of a sudden this idea popped into my head and I forgot about it. I wrote it down and I forgot about it until today, but it was imagine like all the sales that Earth 838 would have after they found out about the Illuminati. They would have like everything half off Captain Carter and mind-blowing Black Bolt sales and stuff like that. So like that, like I was literally just sitting there and it just popped in my head and like, oh my gosh, I need to make a video on that. And I wrote it down. Of course, I forgot about it until today. I was sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to make that video. But a lot of the times it really is just kind of thinking that pops into my head, or I'll be watching something and I'll be like, oh, I can make a video on that. Or even sometimes I'll be scrolling on TikTok and somebody's video will give me like a different idea, or like I can stem something off of their video and stuff like that. But really, mostly it's just completely random. I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, oh my gosh, this sounds really cool.
Yeah, I mean, but like, and it's crazy that's super creative though. And that is something that even as you say it, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's such a great idea. Like the one you did about Captain Carter, which was like 3 million views or something.
Yeah.
Like where you're like, oh, I can do this all day. And then you timed it. Like,
yeah.
It's so funny because I was just scrolling through. I saw it when it first came out, when you first, posted it. And then I don't know where I was like looking through and somehow I saw it and I was like, whoa, like, wait, what happened?
Right.
But that's super creative, but also like, I don't know what to compare it to. It's like,
it's creative, but so simple at the same time.
Yes,
like, it's like, so, oh, you're just holding up this timer in front of a TV screen, but it's like, oh my gosh, yeah.
But it's brilliant too, because I think a lot of people, and I think this is ending into my really last question. I think it's like, what would advice be to other creators who are trying to get started? I think that's the thing. People try to get too cute and too creative and too whatever. Sometimes it's just like, think about something and think about what would be fun. I love the 838 sale. Like, I think that's awesome. But yeah, what would advice be? Because I think, again, like you said, it's really creative and it's also classic you, but it's also not trying too hard. It's very fun. It's anyone could see it and you're like, oh my God, it's so cool. But it has your mark on it too. And so I don't want to answer the question for you there. But like, what would be advice to like, creators who are trying to get in and like, I want to share my voice and get out there?
Honestly, this is something that even I still struggle with. It's like, I'll post something that I genuinely, think is funny, or that I think would be cool, that I worked really hard on, and it doesn't do well, and I get defeated, and I'm like, oh, this is like, what I want to do, and this is what I worked hard on. I worked hours on this, and it doesn't go anywhere. But then you post something ridiculous that's 5 seconds and it gets millions of views. That can really, take a toll on you. Like, oh my gosh, is this right for me? But honestly, just post whatever you want to, and it'll hit the right audience. It'll hit who it needs to hit. And no matter what, like, you're doing this because you love to do it. You want to do it. Don't do it to try and please everybody else. Please yourself. Do what you love, not what everybody else does.